Bri, they did better when you were in Spain.
Yeah.
Running joke here because Bri was gone and the Warriors closed the season and they got into that slot and didn't have to go to the play-in. But first two games of this series against the Kings, I feel like if you were to run a simulation, this is kind of how the teams played during the regular season. The Warriors played much better in game one, but so did the Kings. I thought the Kings kind of played below average from what they were playing in this game too, and some of it was the mucking of the game up, and the Warriors tried to slow it down. You saw Steph specifically, taking his 8 seconds to get over half court, whereas the Kings were just running as fast as they could. So it's a tale of two teams. But the Warriors lose game two. They kind of lost themselves a little bit. And I guess we should open up, but we'll get to, we have a couple of categories here that we'll get into, but I think we should open up with this Draymond thing. So fourth quarter, actually it was in the third quarter, Kevon Looney gets his fifth foul pretty early, and Kerr has to pull him out. And Draymond got his fourth foul, like 2 fouls in a row in the third quarter. And so he had to come out. And now Looney gets his fifth. Draymond has to come in. So he's playing a lot of the third quarter and the fourth quarter, not being able to pick up fouls. And he's playing really well. Like, this guy is playing such great defense, using his hands. He's getting charge calls. He's mixing it up. There's a play on the baseline where he saves the ball from going out of bounds, and he's like falling backwards. And Sabonis is trying to get up, and they kind of collide. And, like has been the case, Sabonis is just kind of flailing to get the call, and he does. And all of a sudden, you're just like, what did I just see? They look at the thing and they go, okay, that wasn't a foul. But that moment there told me, like, they are hunting this dude. Draymond is on their nerves, whether it's the constant chirping or whatever it was. So then we get to the play. Sabonis basically grabs like an ankle, like an MMA fighter would. Like, he grabs it like a jiu-jitsu fighter on his back. He grabs the ankle as if he's trying to take him down. And Draymond is trying to pull his foot up. And as he's pulling his foot up, he stomps down once on Sabonis's chest or his ribs or his side or whatever it was. And then he finally pulls his foot out. And so we get technical on Sabonis for putting him in an ankle lock, double technical, flagrant 2 on Draymond. He gets kicked out of the game. I think the Warriors were down 3 or 4 at that point. And that was hasta la vista, baby, for that game, because Looney had to come back in. They were putting Looney in screen and roll, and he was dying. He was tired, and that's your ball game right there. So as that Draymond play happens, what did you think? What was going through your mind? Because I can tell you exactly what was going through my mind.
Yeah, I mean, I think you can break it down by the seconds. Like, Sabonis grabs his leg, and I jump up like, hey, what the hell? And then 0.3 seconds later, Draymond stomps, and I'm like, oh, no. I feel like it was very reminiscent of the LeBron thing. It's the same. Player A makes a dirty move, and player B, being Draymond in both scenarios, just reacts with an even more maybe dirty way. And that's the one that's going to get the suspension. I get it, but
and the reason why it's so reminiscent is because that game that the Warriors were easily winning, Draymond was so over the top, so demonstrative in that game, that where the Warriors go up 3-1, like, he and LeBron were going at it that game. Lots of chirping, lots of standing up chest to chest. And then that moment where LeBron walks over him and Draymond, does what he did. It was a moment of like, all eyes are on you, buddy. Like, this is, if you just let LeBron do that and we're winning, it's fine. Like, that's just his aggression. And same thing here. The Warriors weren't winning.
It looked good though.
You let Sabonis grab you and goad you into getting kicked out of this game, a game in which the Warriors needed so badly. And we'll talk about that in a second, because I think that's a major takeaway of this game. Is I think it's been understated how much of a must-win this game was. Even somewhat Steph Curry's comments after game one. I kind of wonder a little bit about the lack of urgency. But so that happens. Draymond gets kicked out. He's going at the crowd. There's a Caucasian man in a jersey who's flipping him off and just F-bombing him. And the camera pans to Draymond, and Draymond is calling him the word that rhymes with wussy just over and over and over. So it's ugly, unnecessary, really. But that environment where Kings fans were lit. They were going crazy, and they were happy to see Draymond kind of get goaded into what he did. If he doesn't do that, and you really get the tech, and then you make the free throw, and then you shorten the game, and Sabonis is kind of. I thought Sabonis was just tired. I thought he was just tired. If you saw the play that he falls down on is Clay is trying to box him out. Sabonis pushes Clay. Clay falls, and then Sabonis also falls, and that's when he grabs. I thought Sabonis was gassed, and that little 3-minute rest he took on the ground, where maybe breath was taken out of him or whatever, that actually helped him, I thought, because he got his win back, and he played pretty well down the stretch. Was that the game for you too? Was that like pretty much game over once Draymond got kicked out?
I think there was a couple possessions to start it back up once everything got, Draymond kicked out, everyone's back on the court. I think they scored like 2 or 3 possessions in a row, and I was like, oh, you just gave them bulletin board material. But I think I was just reacting because I was hot like Draymond was. And I think, has Draymond ever said in that game against the Cavs that he wishes he didn't do that? Like, has that ever, or does he stand on that?
I don't know.
Like, I feel like I haven't heard him say like, yeah, I shouldn't have done that. And
I mean, has he ever said that he wishes he didn't punch Jordan Poole in the face? Like,
yeah,
we haven't heard that either. So.
God, man, I love Draymond, but he's got some issues, and I feel like this is completely off the point of basketball, but like I feel like if you did ask him, like, would you redo the Sabonis one? Would you redo the LeBron one? And he probably would redo it. It's like, they disrespected me as a man. It's like that toxic masculinity shit that I feel like he has, and that's so annoying. But he costed them the game.
Somewhat, it probably, he believes it probably makes him the player that he is. It gets him fired up the way to play. Yeah. But it's just unnecessary stuff. And I'm really interested in Steve Kerr's comments tonight. We're recording before I could see any of that.
And is he doing a presser, or is he recording his podcast right now? That's the main question.
Draymond? I don't really care what Draymond says, because you kind of know what he's going to say, right? He's not going to be apologetic. He's not going to apologize to the team. And maybe the team doesn't want to. You saw Jordan Poole like gassing him, like riling him up, and I was just like, man, like, I think we just lost a basketball game, and you guys are not taking this thing seriously. Mm-hmm. But Steve Kerr is going to be honest to a fault, right? Like, he's going to say exactly what he thinks, and he's going to say whether or not he thought that was a good play. I'm sure he can't have thought it was a good play. But he'll also say, yeah, we didn't lose the game right there. We lost it in this, and we did this, and we did, just like he did in game one. But let's move to some takeaways here. I told you before that, have a thought or two as one thing that you learned from watching this game that you thought was a big takeaway. I'll go first. I wanted to look at the box score before I even mentioned anything about this, because sometimes your eyes can deceive you. I thought Klay Thompson on defense was maybe and some of this may have to do with just the Kings have such great athletes. I thought this was the worst that he's looked defensively pretty much all year long. And it's so unfortunate, because you watch this guy and he's trying so hard, but what really great Klay Thompson defense looks like, because he's constantly moving his feet and he's getting his body in position. and he was doing a lot of reaching. He was doing a lot. He was trying to anticipate where he's supposed to be, and then he would get beat, and then you'd see a reach. And it was just unfortunate because it's not the Clay that you're used to. And even last year, I think to some extent, because Boston was so big, he could kind of get away with it. But man, he was struggling anytime he was anywhere near Fox, anytime he was near Monk. Even Davion Mitchell, I don't know if they matched up often, but Davion Mitchell was just quick as lightning tonight too, even with that ugly jumper that just kept going in. But that's my first takeaway is I'm not sure Clay. I'm not sure this is a Clay series. I don't unless he just shoots out, lights out. And I think he made, he was 5 for 10, but some of those came really late. But unless he shoots lights out and he's just on fire and he's not forcing, but I didn't even really think he got great looks either. And some of that may be the lack of movement. So someone will have to talk to him about it. But what did you think about Clay's movement and his athleticism in the first 2 games, really?
I mean, I think if we did a podcast after that first game, this would have been a point I brought up too, because I think it was the game that the Kings won in the regular season. The Warriors won 3 out of the 4 games. The Kings won 1.
Yeah.
There was a lot of things that went into that win for the Kings, but one thing that I always remember is just that De'Aaron Fox and Malik Monk kept taking Clay off the dribble, and there was nothing they could do about it. Prime Klay Thompson, he's staying in front of them, but I've lost a step because I've had 2 major injuries. Klay Thompson, he can't guard those super quick small guys. He can't guard the John Morants. He can't guard the De'Aaron Foxes of the world, the Malik Monks, the Darius Garlands, those small, super quick guards. He can't really stay in front of. I mean, that's why I think he can guard the Jaylen Browns, which is weird. I mean, well, Jaylen Brown, a bigger guy, quick too, but a bigger guy. I feel like he can guard like the Jaylen Browns, like the Devin Bookers, the guys who, aren't relying completely on quickness, more so on shot making ability. I feel like Clay can stay in front of, like, if they were to play the Lakers the next round. I mean, this is, I don't know anymore, but like he can guard Austin Reeves. Like that's the type of guy he could probably guard.
Yeah.
But yeah, those super quick guards are just killing him these days.
Yeah, the athleticism piece, and this was what was so special about Clay is because in the 4 titles, he was guarding the point guard. He was guarding the smaller player because Steph would get attacked, and then you get an exhausted Steph. But Clay was able to do that. So, this is not saying it takes anything away from his previous accolades. It's just in this series, I think this may have been the worst matchup for him. You play against Phoenix, you play against Memphis, and I think there are spots where you can hide him a little bit better, but not in this series because their wings are I'm sorry, their guards are quick, and then sometimes he gets and I wonder this is such a funny reminder for me. But he gets matched up against Harry B. And Harry B goes hard, pivot, short, hook or short little floater or whatever. And Clay couldn't stop that either. And the first thing I thought about, and I've told you this story before, but I talked to Jim Barnett, Warriors color guy, and he told me that he's like, I wish Clay and Harrison could just play one-on-one full court, and you could only dribble 3 times, because what it would do is it would force them to get creative with their footwork, because neither guy can really take the ball to the basket with any sort of creativity or shot creation. And I said, well, Harrison Barnes was went to UNC. Like, how is anyone teaching him footwork? Is anyone teaching him post moves, pivot moves? And he's like, no, they just want him to go to the school. Like, they treat him like he's already great. And so I just thought that, I'm watching this and I'm going like, wow, Harrison's got some moves here. And unfortunately for Clay, he's got the base, but he doesn't got the length. And Harrison did him dirty a couple times. So yeah, it was just such a bummer. It's like kind of a heartbreaking thing when you see a guy who is just so memorable and fantastic. And in the playoffs, you're like, okay, even if Clay's shot goes awry, like he's just D'ing up. And this is not the dude anymore.
Yeah, I think someone's gonna have to talk with. I don't know what you mean. I don't know what you tell him, but the plus minus stat isn't doing him any favors. What, he was team low plus minus first game. I think Dante DiVincenzo had 2 worse than him this game, but he's right up there again, like a minus 11 or minus 13, whatever he was. Uh, I'm at a loss for words, man. This is like a walk it back podcast for me. Like
Mm-hmm.
I gotta pull back some takes here, and I feel like my takeaway. Or did you want to say something?
Well, I was going to tell you, Draymond did speak. He
Oh
said,
wow,
and we'll have to hear the full soundbite. Anthony Slater just posted a little bit of it, and I'm not even hearing it. I'm just reading it. He said, "My leg got grabbed second time in 2 nights." And then he said that he needed to put his foot somewhere, but officials told him he stomped too hard. So that is his explanation for what happened here. And I wonder.
there's truth to it, but like it wasn't all good intentions. Like there's truth to what he's saying, but
There's
it
some
wasn't all good
frustration. There
intentions.
was definitely some frustration
100%.
in that stomp. And and he's not going to get the benefit of the doubt on that, which is the other part of it, because it just shows that if you want to goad him into doing something poorly, you can.
Yeah.
And in big games, and you're just like, come on, just trust in your team, trust that you guys can do it. And that for that moment, it wasn't there for him, unfortunately. But yeah, go for your major takeaway.
I was gonna say, like, what changed from game 1 to game 2? It's like game 1, we tested it out. We saw, what they did and what we needed to work on for the next game. And what was Kerr's main pointers? It was what was it? Rebounds, and what was the other one? Turnovers? I don't know.
No,
Same.
it was just letting the Kings get the offensive rebounds, which is literally all he said.
That happened again, right? What was the rebound count? 46 to 58 rebounds. I don't have the offensive rebound count, but that's a 12 differential. Game 1 it was 41 to 50, so only a 9 differential. On the total, it's 87 to 108. So that's damn near 20 rebounds
And
in
this
both
is
games
the
combined.
7th worst rebounding team in the NBA in the regular season that is doing this.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a couple of things to this entire takeaway, but yeah, I think the main theme of mine is like what changed from game 1 to game 2. I think all the things that the Kings did well, they did well again. I think all the things that the Warriors did bad, they did bad again. So I'm just wondering, like, what were the conversations had? What was practiced on? I didn't Kerr cancel a practice? Like,
Yeah.
what's happening? What are they? What? So I think that there's a there's a clear lack of out there. Like they're lacking size, and they're lacking size for rebounds. And I mean, yeah, they needed GP2, but I think the Wiseman thing not working out is been a real bummer, because they need a shot blocker, or they at least need someone else who could help rebound. They need Otto Porter Jr. out there, who's kind of been replaced by Kuminga, but Kuminga has the shortest leash out of anyone, which I think in plus minus, they were saying after game 1, they're like, we thought Kuminga had like a good game, and like he's just not he's gonna have a really short leash. I kind of thought the opposite. I thought that they were baiting him into shooting bad shots. Not that he had like a terrible game, but I didn't think he had this great game that Anthony Slater seemed to think he had. And game 2, I feel like the first mistake he made, he was out. I think he had like 3 minutes.
Well, he was the Alex Len. Alex Len was hurting them on the offensive end, and then on defense, Kuminga was the guy who was attacking Alex Len. So from that perspective, he saw that. He's like, "Oh, I got this guy who can't guard me, so I'm just going to go to the hoop," and he did. But it's just that brick of a 3 that everyone's going to remember, that kind of killed, a nice little possession for them.
Yeah, I
But
thought what was funny in game 1 really quick is that Kuminga was at the 3-point line, Alex Len on him, and Kuminga goes to shoot. Alex Len contests like it's Stephen Curry, and I see the Kings bench, like Mike Brown, like yelling at him, like, anyone like but him, like leave him wide open. Kuminga got a layup after that. I don't think they made that mistake ever again. So yeah.
So there were 2 guys who Steve Kerr didn't really give any opportunity to whatsoever, and they were both on the floor during the run where the Warriors have a successful first quarter. The game was ugly, but they had a successful first quarter. I think it was 23-17 maybe or something like that was the first quarter. And then they boat raced the Warriors to start the second quarter. Who was on the floor? Jonathan Kuminga, Dante DiVincenzo. Steph is on the bench. Dante DiVincenzo, who has been such a great player for them, he's been starting, coming off the bench, just energy, deep rebounding, for such a small player. He played 12 minutes and he was a minus 13. I would imagine the majority of that comes during that run. He had no shot attempts. And this is a guy who, I don't know how many threes he hit in game one, but I felt like his shot was great in game one.
Yeah.
He had an open three that he kind of pump faked into a pass that, I forget exactly what happened on the possession, but he kind of just decided he wasn't going to shoot that. And Jonathan Kuminga, 4 minutes, a little bit less than 4 minutes, 1 rebound, minus 10. There was the moment where Malik Monk I think he hit 3 straight shots. And I told you and Ben, our buddy Ben Cruz in the text, I was like, Kuminga's on the floor. He's the one who's missed the rotation or whatever. Kerr's pulling him. And he literally didn't come back in the game. Not that I wanted that to happen, but I'm like, who's going to get the blame here? Jonathan Kuminga. And he did. He got the blame.
Yeah.
Moses Moody played double the minutes that
Good
Kuminga
minutes
did.
too.
And Moody was really good. Moody, he also passed up a wide open 3-pointer.
Oh man, that costed them. That was a bad one.
Yeah. But he had 5 rebounds, and Moses Moody in his 8 minutes had 5 rebounds. Kevon Looney in his 22 minutes had 7.
I don't use that stat against him though. I feel like it's like sometimes in his position, it's a lot of like, I have to box out their best rebounder. So someone else, please, for the love of God, get it.
And GP had 6. So, there's a couple other guys with 5. Wiggins had 5. Clay had 5. But Moody is in there in the mix. And
he's got to play.
I wonder. And again, not to harp on the Clay thing, because you don't want to trust Moses Moody late in the game, in a playoff game, offensively. But I wonder if some of those, because Andrew Wiggins played 39 minutes, the second game after being out for so long. I can't imagine that was what they wanted, but he played well. The 3 ball is not there for him, and he shot too many of them. But 9 of 19, 5 rebounds, 22 points. He was dead even on the plus minus. He played 39 minutes. Steph played 40 minutes and 46 seconds. So all of us from game one who were saying, why is this guy playing, 37 minutes? He played more. Probably wasn't for the best, because his 3-point percentage was 23.1 on 13 threes today. And I think you had to give a little credit to Davion Mitchell. I thought, and some of this is recency bias, because I was mostly watching that game where the Warriors beat the second teamers, and Mitchell was playing that game a lot, and they just let this dude shoot, and he was bricking hard. And I was like, 30% 3-point shooter. If he plays, great. He's gonna D up Steph, but on the offensive end, he's just gonna be a negative, and that was not the case. He was not a negative on offense today. He had 14 points, 2 of 6 from 3, 5 of 10 from the field. Oh man, I thought he was so good tonight. Another takeaway that I would say, I have one more takeaway, and I think this one is a little too easy. Jordan Poole. I mean, he had a bad game in a time where, he's got more eyeballs on him than most, because Warriors fans are looking for someone to blame, because you don't want to blame Dre. You don't want to blame Steph. You don't want to blame Clay. Those guys are kind of blameless. So who do you blame? And a lot of the finger pointing goes to Jordan. Well-deserved tonight. Well-deserved. 1 of 7 shooting, 0 for 3 from 3. There were moments where I was like, he knows that the Kings are running down the court, right? Like, the Kings are trying to score off of a missed shot, and he is looking back at the referee, thinking that he's going to be able to D up the trail man. And then when he gets across half court, someone is yelling at him because he's on the wrong guy, and he completely missed the guy who's on the left hand side of the floor. And luckily the Kings missed, but I was just like, man, in this kind of moment, how can you lose such focus on that end? And I'm glad he only played 15 minutes. He was
Yeah,
terrible tonight.
it was
And
too much.
and GP, they're kind of the opposite player, right? GP's super dogged. He's all hustle. He's just in your jock defense. And Jordan is, flashy and offensive, and like I thought Gary Payton played such good basketball today, being undersized, and I I think he's got to move ahead. I mean, he's already ahead of Jordan in the rotation the way that they're playing this, but I would like to see Jordan if he, it's kind of a rhythm thing with him. If he's on offensively, then you kind of go, okay, we have to be okay with some of the defensive stuff because he's the only one who can really get to the rim. But if he's not, and maybe the ankle was bothering him a little bit tonight, I think the minutes were perfect for him. 15 minutes, get him out of here. He wasn't ready to play this type of basketball today. And GP was, but it just wasn't enough. They're so undersized and the Kings are so athletic. This is a bad recipe of basketball for the Warriors.
Yeah, and I'm usually like very anti. I'm on Jordan. Like I like every time I say it at every podcast. Like how many times does this guy fall on the ground and then it's a 4-on-5 the other way? Like that's just so defeating. And I'm always on him about that. But honestly, like how did Rick Celebrini clear this guy? Like he just looked injured the entire time. And I don't want to completely use that as an excuse, but I just feel like that's the worst I've ever seen him play defensively. Like he was just flopping. Like the flopping was out of control today, and I almost feel like that was just compensation of like I'm hurt.
Well, you played high school basketball, what it's like. Some guys, when they're hurt, they just mentally they go, okay, like I may not be able to do this, but that means I just have to do this because that's what I can control. And some guys, when they're hurt, they're looking for excuses to not play well, right? They expect to not play well, and they're looking for that excuse. And I don't know Jordan. He's a gamer. He's not trying to play poorly, but it almost looked like he was looking for an out because it just wasn't there for him, And Steph turned his ankle in the first quarter, I think, and I was just like, oh no, here we go again.
Yeah.
But he hung in there. He wasn't good. It's maybe one of the worst big Steph Curry games that we've seen of late. And I don't think that is necessarily a major takeaway because again, they were all out trying to stop this guy, and he was careless. He was too many turnovers. Him and Draymond are just like throwing the basketball around. Some of this was Draymond trying to throw guys open. Like Draymond knew where these guys should go, and they didn't know where they were supposed to go. So he's throwing them to open spots, and they're just not there. Some of the energy, especially in the first half, was just so low. I was just like, man, you guys don't understand that. Or they do understand, but in my mind, you don't understand the stakes here. Like, but yeah. So that was my other takeaway. Do you have another one?
Yeah. I think is it the Kings are good defensively? Is it the Warriors are just super careless, or is it just a little bit of both? Because I wasn't, I think the defense they're playing, it's very pushed out. We're going to try to get Curry right away at half court. And unlike Rob Williams of the Celtics, who's a way better defender than Sabonis, but
Yeah.
Rob Williams was still giving Steph a little bit of cushion on that pick and roll from half court in the finals. And Steph would be able to take a 3 from 3 feet behind the 3-point line. It almost is like Sabonis watched that. It's like, I'm not letting that happen. Sabonis is up there in the pick and roll at half court too. And it's almost like, okay, guys, like, if you're the faster guy, all you have to do is get by one person and you have a free court down. You see what Steph did in the fourth quarter? Like 3 possessions in a row. Oh, easy layup, easy layup, easy layup. Like where the hell was that all game? Like I know it's difficult. But that just, it seems very, that makes sense, right? That makes sense in my head is that You have a team that is bad defensively, but they are very pushed out to take away your three. All you need to do is get by them. If you just watch it on a piece of paper and you have all the little dots moving around, I'm sure like it looks like they can get by. I don't know totally know what's going on there. Yeah, this Kings team has been bad defensively all year, and I wonder if maybe I don't know if they want to admit it or not. To me, it looks like the crowd's getting to them. I think it's too loud, and I think that it's rattling them just a little bit, and it doesn't help that they're already bad on the road. Doesn't help that the crowd's super loud. And it doesn't help that they're not really taking any of this shit seriously, and it's very frustrating.
This is the road warriors that we saw season long.
Yeah,
The way that they handled
yeah.
road
And that was
games.
your
It was
question. You're like,
ridiculous.
are they? My fear is that they might not turn it on, and they haven't. I think the only optimistic thing you can say is that Wiggins' first game back, they literally lost because Wiggins wasn't playing at 80% of himself. Like they were a 3-ball away. Wiggins went 1 for 8 from 3. A couple of things could have been changed, but they lost game 1 of a multitude of things. But you could probably confidently say that, like, hey, if Wiggins was, 80% of the guy he was, I don't know if it was the finals or even that damn Washington Wizards game halfway through the season where he had a 30 ball. If he was 80% of that guy, they win that game. This game, the Draymond ejection doesn't help. I think the Kings, they brought it tonight, and God, no one. It blows my mind how De'Aaron Fox is so good.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think he just recklessly, like, he's so controlled, don't get me wrong, but I think he like recklessly, he's faster, quicker, and more athletic than most people on the court. And I think he just recklessly drives the ball to the paint. And right when he gets to the paint, he grabs it and just jumps as high as possible. And then he just gets this like the definition of a floater. He is floating in the air as he's taking that little mid-range shot right in the paint. And it is cash every single time. He is so entertaining to watch, but no one can like I think Wiggins is an elite perimeter defender. GB2 is an elite perimeter defender, and man, like they almost need to play all 48 because Monk and Fox are killing them. You look at the assist totals; the Warriors are beating them in assists because they move the ball more.
Mm-hmm.
The Kings are just saying, "We're just going to get by you. We're just going to give it to our best ball handlers and get by you because we're more athletic and we can finish at the rim." It's a tale of two teams, like you said, and one team. The Warriors have been missing a guy who hits mid-range and drives to the basket all season, and it's going to take a lot. It's going to take a lot for them to get back.
In the non-box and one defensive settings, why aren't they trying to put Sabonis in high pick and roll? They're running him through screens, but that's to open up stuff at the top of the key to get threes. But why aren't they trying to put him in the pick and roll like the Kings put Looney in to then get Steph coming downhill and then making decisions?
Yeah, there's something weird there because it's like they get they get Sabonis in the pick and roll. They get the switch they want. But if their action isn't there, if it's, not bang, bang, like pass it to the corner, then that guy goes pass it to the middle. It's like they want to do it all over again. They want the pick. It's like you are Steph Curry and you have Sabonis on you. Like, can you please ISO? It's like, nope, I need to do the pick and roll again, and we need to see if we can get it again so I can get freaking Davion Mitchell back on me. Like, what is happening with that stuff? It's like there's no ISO. There's no ISO. Yeah, sorry.
No. You know what? It was sad is Clay would get that switch and Clay would pull it out, and then he'd try to take Sabonis off the dribble, and he couldn't.
I saw that too.
Oh, so sad. So sad. All right, let's go to this is gonna be a tough one because I'm not even sure who you would say played well for the Warriors. But if you're gonna go player of the game for the Warriors, and we'll bring up the Draymond stuff before the show's over. But I do have another question about Draymond for you. But let's try and stay positive. Who did you think played well today or tonight?
Tonight, I think. I think Draymond played well up until that happened. I think Moses Moody played well. I think GP2 played well. I think Wiggins played well on. I think he played well from what we could expect. I think Steph, is maybe his shooting numbers don't look as great because he just hucked 3 at the end that had no chance. But I think Steph, played well given that injury in the beginning that I literally sat down and I was like, I think our season's over.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, played well. Maybe no one played well. There's a couple guys who played good. No one played great. You know, who do you think played well? I have something after that boat though.
I'm if I was to give the player of the game for the Warriors, I'd give it to GP2. I thought
Yeah,
this dude is all heart, and he made 2 for 3 from 3. He had the slashing dunk and Steph with the look away pass, and he had 6 rebounds at how tall is he? 6'4", 6'3"? This dude is in the mix. And I thought, Steph can probably win player of the game almost every single time. The thing about the box score is you look at Clay's numbers and you go, oh, he kind of played okay. No, he did not. The minus 11 is the blemish because he shot okay, but he couldn't get a shot. He couldn't get open enough to shoot, which was frustrating. I'm like, where is Clay? Like, how come he's not?
he looked better than this during the season. Like I don't
Yeah.
know what the hell is going
Well,
on.
the
Like
defense, they always say in the playoffs, the defense takes it to another level. And
yeah,
well, there's something what you said about what changed from this game to last game to this game. I think the main thing that changed is they allowed their stars to play a little bit longer, or at
that's
least
it.
Steph. But that was really it. But now, are they going to make some strategic changes at all, or
Yeah,
do
can you
they just?
predict any? Because I mean, I think you predicted the last one in the finals. Like they're gonna do something, and I don't know what it. If they don't do anything, it's over, right? Like if they just try to play this game straight up and chase and just say,
So
we're
so
good at
here
home.
here here's the question, right? I think this might be Kerr's question, and he'll make some adjustments. I'm sure there's
Can I
small
wait? Can
things.
I pitch one? Because
Yeah,
remember, I told you I was gonna say something
go
after
ahead.
the
Go
player
ahead.
of the game. I think they found their lineup.
Which
I
is
have the lineups pulled up. It's calculated by the 2 games so far, 2 games played in the playoffs. It's what I saw on screen too. I texted all my friends like I think they might have found their lineup. I think it was to close the half or to start the third. I forget what it was. It was Steph, Clay, Draymond, Wiggins, and GP2.
mm.
They've played 16 minutes together this series. They're a +6. It's the highest plus out of any of the lineups, and it's the most minutes played. So it's like the double whammy, double good.
So it's just Looney out, GP in.
Yeah.
And I mean, you can do that if Draymond doesn't get in foul trouble, and
And
you
I think
can.
they do it when Monk and Fox is in. That's probably why, because you have your 2 ball stoppers.
Yeah, no, I like that lineup. I liked it a lot, and it's just, man, if you could just find a spot for Kuminga, they need to spot him minutes. He's not
He's
gonna.
gotta play. He like has to. Like he gives Wiggins and GP2. I don't think as conditioned and as Wiggins doesn't ever really get hurt. If you look at his career totals on games played, like he's pretty much a Kevon Looney, Jordan Poole type of do it all, play it all. But like I don't know if he could do 40 minutes every single night for 7 games. Like Kuminga is your third ball stopper. I think the short leash stuff, I kind of get it. But if you look at how Kuminga defended in all of the games this season, like you relied on him so much and he had mix-ups to start the game. Like it was getting a feel for who he was guarding. That's normal. But Fox is a different level of quickness, but
Different level, and Monk is a different level of an inside outside guy because you're so worried about the three, and he's got a great first step, and then he can finish as well. It makes me wonder, like is he hiding? Like, because you remember we had this conversation where like who should they try to trade for? And I mentioned Monk, and you're like, he can't really play defense, and I can see that. Like they're gonna challenge him defensively, but I watch Monk and I'm like, that is what I wish Jordan Poole could do consistently.
yeah.
And it's like, oh my gosh, we got the wrong guy. But anyways, all right.
Do you think they start with that lineup? Was just kind of my strategic.
Well, that could be, if Kerr does change something, it could be that, and then I guess the first sub is Looney for Draymond. Um, and
I
then
don't think they started just because I think it's so. I think they just you'd have to save it for the Fox Monk stuff.
yeah. By the way, our guy Big Leo still thinks the Warriors win in
I
6.
appreciate the confidence.
He
I don't
he
think they could win
he
4 straight.
he's going 4 straight, man.
I don't
He's
think they
like, the
could do
Warriors
it.
got him figured out. They're playing chess. Kings are playing checkers. Warriors got him figured out 4 straight. If this happens, Big Leo, I hope you go to Vegas and put some money on this, Big Leo.
I'm saying some irresponsible things on Twitter if that happens.
All right, so there's a moment in this game.
Oh, yeah.
We call it our definition of when someone has a butt cheeks moment is the opposite of clutch. When they get tight and they let the nerves get to them, that is the butt cheeks that like what we call. And so what is that moment of the game? I think it's got to be Dre. And the other thing about this, and this is why I mentioned to you, I want to say something about Dre. Would it be out of the realm of possibility that the NBA decides to tack on a suspension for that?
If they do, they're writing the Warriors dynasty. Like they're doing it with the pen on the paper. Like they have that ability in
Like
the palm of their
I
hand.
don't know what the rule is, because I think in the Draymond would have to get to 4 points to be suspended for a game, and the flagrant foul gives him 2.
Yeah, because it was a double flagrant or flagrant 2. Yeah.
So I would, like, okay, well, that's why you have the points, and you shouldn't suspend him because he doesn't have 4. But what if the NBA, starts looking at the tape like it's the, JFK Zapruder film, and they start slow motioning it? The thing about it is when they did the slow motion, the stomp looked like a fake wrestling kick, but live it looked like he jammed his foot down this dude's heart.
I agree. I think what they should look at is they should look at Sabonis playing every single minute after that.
Well, they should look at that, and they should also they should look at Sabonis's chest and see if there's a footprint on his chest. Because if there's a footprint on his chest, then Draymond really stomped him. Because Draymond's a big.
It could have been really dirty shoes if there's a footprint.
No, I'm talking about his chest, not his shirt.
Oh,
like Draymond's. Yeah. What is Draymond? 250 pounds? Something like that. To stomp
you think Sabonis
on a man's chest?
Is sprinting out of the locker room if they ask for what his chest looks like?
Well, I know Woj said that they were doing X-rays on his ribs or something. So I do think Sabonis kind of plays a style that I would not consider dirty, but I consider it a little bit reckless with how many times he just decides to hit the floor. How many times he's pulled, like we saw in game 1, he pulled Draymond down on the floor. Like it was like almost like a suplex. Like it would, like Draymond was boxing him out, and Sabonis grabs onto him and pulls him so that he doesn't get the rebound, and Draymond falls backwards on him. And I think
that was another one where I feel like Draymond, like Sabonis started it, and then Draymond.
Well, this might be the other one where Draymond said he got his foot pulled, because Draymond is doing that thing where he's trying to get up and he can't get up, and so he just lays on him more and he like puts weight on him. I wonder if that's the same moment, because and I'm sure the Kings fans say, oh, Draymond's the dirtiest player in the game or whatever. And I'm not saying Sabonis is dirty. I just think he does things that, there's some gamesmanship, a little bit of Vlade Divac, former Kings player, reminds me. Vlade Divac was the biggest guy ever to just consistently flop all over the court. Sabonis doesn't go that far, but there's some stuff in that game, and I could see how it would be frustrating for Dre to play that, and the referees don't call it. So we'll see. I would just be I hope that there's not a question, because if there's a question and they start digging on Twitter, it looks bad, right? You can someone has a loop of just the stomp like 100 times in a row, just go stomp,
like
it looks bad. But so I'm just hopeful that it doesn't mean that he's going to be gone, because if he misses game 3, I mean, you're basically conceding. The Warriors are not going to win game 3 without him, even if it has.
And then no team's ever won a 3-0, right?
So back to the opening point that I wanted to make, and we'll wrap it up here. So I know Amber's waiting to go to the bathroom here. I thought game 2 was maybe the most must-win non
finals
Western Conference Championship or finals game that the Warriors have ever played. First 2 rounds of the playoffs, I thought this was the most must-win. I think some people might say 2015 when they were down 3-2 to Memphis. Actually, that's probably a little bit more of that. So this is the second most, but because if you go down 2-0, you got to win 4 out of the next 6 or 4 out of the next 5. And there is so much riding on this series, I think, for the legacy of these guys, because we know Clay goes up to 40, 43 or something for his money. Draymond can opt out. Just
Bob
the
Myers.
Bob Myers, like that whole thing. I'd be worried if they lose this series about what happens to this team, and maybe they can sort of retool like San Antonio was able to do, even when Tim Duncan wasn't the best player on the team. But this is a little bit of a different unit, and I just thought, like, man, I maybe was feeling more sense of urgency just because these memories are flashing in my head about this run. But the way that they came out, they didn't really seem to be. And Steph's comments after game 1 was like, "Yeah, this is what we do. That we were made for this moment." And I was like, "I don't know. I didn't see it." The Kings did not play terrific basketball, and I think that's more the reason why the Warriors were in rather than the Warriors played good, because I didn't think they played good tonight at all.
Yeah. I think for the most part though, like the defense has been solid. What the Kings score tonight? 114. Like that's not a bad, score. I think defensively. What are the good defensive ratings at? I actually don't know the number off the top of my head, but I think if you're an optimistic Warriors fan, I think some of your key pointers are that Wiggins is getting more minutes under his belt. That's a good sign. That's probably going to bode well. They finally got like Draymond, got like super bulletin board material now, right? He got booted from a game. Everyone's calling him dirty again, like they did in 2016 when he hit LeBron in the balls, like they did in 2020 when he poked LeBron in the eyeballs, like they did in Steven Adams, like you name it, man. Like that's back. So I feel like maybe he's amped up, and if you're a Warriors fan and you're optimistic, like these guys have proven time and time again that they figure something out. I think what we try to do as fans is try to figure out what they're going to figure out.
Yeah.
Right now, I can't figure it out. So I hope that, they prove me wrong in game 3. I think they win game 3. Obviously, if they don't, it's over. Like
Yeah.
it's like Draymond needs to not get suspended and they need to win the game. I think they will because of the home stuff and because of their backs are like super against the wall and they sense it. They must sense it too. Like that dynasty, man. Like I think there is a retool move where Jordan Poole's money kicks in next year, and you could attach Kaminga, you could attach picks, and try to do something. But I think that it's a good like if you look at the road to get there, if they get past the Kings, Lakers, or Memphis, then it's probably whoever Suns versus Clippers, then goes to play Denver, then it's another like not that hard road to get to the finals. It's like we're gonna be watching this on our couches if the Warriors get booted in the first round and just be like, are you kidding me? Like, like this just looks like the Warriors could have done it, and that's going to be so frustrating if that happens because I genuinely don't think this is the toughest Western Conference. Man, if I could double walk it back, did you see that damn Suns team? They have no hierarchy figured out. Like I said,
Yeah.
like that wouldn't have been the worst team to play. But no, I mean, I think they just gotta be serious, man. They're just unserious. That's the theme for me, is that they're just an unserious team. And what do we do? What do we do during the regular season? We have these type of podcasts where it's sad and it's they're not the dynasty's over. They're butt cheeks, the whole team's butt cheeks, and then they go and win 2 in a row.
Yeah.
Would it shock me if that happened? No.
Well, there's the age-old adage that series doesn't start until someone wins a road game. And if the Kings win a road game, like you said, series over. And that is the key here for Thursday. Now, I think the 2 games are the 2 days off, being Tuesday, Wednesday. That's probably better for the Warriors' legs, but at the same time, they had old legs tonight, and Wiggins, the one guy with the springs in his legs, they're not there yet completely because he was obviously gone for a while. So they need to find something. Steph is still downplaying it. He's like, you just got to embrace it. Like that was his comment at the end of the game tonight.
Yeah.
There was no like sense of urgency in his words, which, hey, it works for him. That's kind of the way that he is. But I was told that I need to watch Inside the NBA because
Oh no.
Shaq and Chuck were At least Shaq for sure was Team Draymond here. So, so we
I
got
can't wait to
we
see
gotta
it.
watch it.
Hey, one last thing though, one that I
Yep.
thought of is that, the 3 days rest. I hope Jordan gets healed up. I genuinely am on team like I think it was a lot of injury. Like Jordan brings so much stuff that this team needs right now, which is getting to the damn foul line.
Yeah.
I think that if he is healthy and he plays, I think whenever he's in the game, they strictly need to go 2-3 zone, and he needs to play what you play on 2K, which is just the back right corner or the back left corner, the least involved. So that would be my game plan: is do not let this man play man on man
Yeah,
because he is
but then what
killing us.
happens when the other team gets on a fast break? That's where his defense is the worst. He's a terrible
Yeah,
transition player
I
on the
mean,
defensive side.
and that's another bulletin, not bulletin, but just another key point that I don't know if those who might need a little bit of insight there is that when the Warriors have a made basket, the Kings turn it into a fast break. It's like Steph or Jordan can hit a layup and just kind of like, gloat a little bit as they're walking back on defense. But it's like, oh, nope. De'Aaron Fox quickly got the ball, checked it into Malik Monk, and they are sprinting. I don't know what the exact definition of a fast break is. If it needs to be off of a miss, they might need to change the definition by how the Kings are playing, because it is very like there's no slow bring the ball up. It's only if the ball, what needs to happen is the Warriors need to like score the basket. Like Steph needs to hit a layup, and if Loon's under it, he needs to like tap it. He needs to like hit it a little bit so that the Kings aren't able to pick it up and run. And that might be a delay game. I don't know, but that's something that they did in the regular season that they're doing in the playoffs that I think is just working on this old guy team, is that they don't have zero chance to set their feet on defense. It's go, go, go. And if you can't hear your coach because it's so loud and you're confused to begin with, like that's just a recipe for disaster. So I think there was a total home court advantage these past 2 games.
Clay just said that Jordan's playing on half a foot, so that's the
Telling you,
excuse
so
for the
injured
poor
out
game.
there. It was disgusting.
Yeah, it's unfortunate for him, man. But maybe they just got to go away from him. But if Clay knows that, then he's got to play better, because I don't know where you get it from.
If Clay said he's playing on 1 foot, that guy's not going to be back by the next game. I'm sure it's a little bit of an exaggeration, but
yeah.
that's
So
not good.
we will not be back after Game 3. I will be I'll be in LA, Anaheim. When is Game 4, by the way?
Game 4's on Sunday. I wrote it down on my calendar. It's Saturday or Sunday. Because Game 3's on Thursday. Game 4 is probably on Saturday. I think they got the afternoon game too, like 12:30.
Can you watch
game? Give me 1 second. Actually, no. Sorry. Go.
Do they let you watch the game outside of the? Do they?
Yeah,
play
I
the
could
game?
go do that. I'm just worried it might be too cold.
Oh, I wonder if we should do that.
I'd be down
as an.
I was thinking we might do it for Game 3 with my friends, but
yeah, and if it brings good luck, maybe we should do it. Yeah. Okay. So Warriors Kings Game 4 is.
It's a 12:30 start, right?
It is. Why is it
ABC.
so hard? Yeah, 12:30 on Sunday.
Sunday. Wow, another big rest in between 3 and 4, right? That's Friday, Saturday off, or is that normal? Is it the
Friday, Saturday? Yeah, another 2 days off. So because this last game was Saturday, Monday. That was only 1 game off.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll be back at some point. Not Game 3, maybe Game 4. We'll see, and hopefully, well, I mean, if season's over, we gotta come back after Game 4. It'd just be the saddest podcast of all time. All right, thanks to Brian. I am Double G. Thanks to people who were checking us out live. We'll see you when we see you. Peace.